And here we are. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Welcome, each and everyone here tonight. I have an outstanding athlete. My guest tonight is none other than Inez Turner, another VERE technical standout and Olympian. Inez, welcome. And everyone, wherever you are in the world, welcome as we talk about Jamaica's rich legacy in track and field. And this lady here tonight, Miss Inez Turner, is going to be sharing her story with us. Inez, as a little girl, tell me about Inez as a little girl. Which parish you're from, where you were raised before you get into high school. Tell me a little bit about that little girl, Inez.
Of course. Thank you so much, Heather, for having me on your program. It's always a pleasure to tell my story, especially, starting from scratch. As a little girl, as everyone should know by now, it was myself and my sisters. As a little girl, our upbringing was I wouldn't give it up for anything because it's what makes me who I am today. As a little girl, my parents, especially my dad, and I tell this story and I will tell it forever. We used to have lots of farming in Jamaica. And back then, my dad did not have any type of machinery. So he plants a lot of 3 months crops, like the cabbage, the tomatoes, etc. And we would be the ones that would have to get up every single morning and go water those vegetables. Also, we have cows that we have to milk and distribute the milk to the community. As I said, there's no machinery, so we would have to do everything manually. And 4:30, 5:30 dawn every single morning, my dad would just wake us up just like that, just
Wow. And
naturally
we're
wake.
we're talking about what, in the 80s?
In the 80s, absolutely, for sure. Um, you can say 70s too, because I was born 72 and by 6 years old, I was out helping with the farm. So my dad would just wake us up and he would just tell us to get up and get ready for our chores. And one of our main chores, for some reason, my dad would just tell us, girls, you got to run, just go run. And at first we were wondering, go run? But back then, you don't argue with your parents. If they tell you something, you get up and you do that something. And we would just get up without no shoes, no nothing, and we would just run. And we would find ourselves run every single morning. We would run like maybe anywhere between 5 to 7 miles in the hilly terrains of Trelawney.
Wow.
And it becomes so much fun that we just start calling it our fun runs. My sisters and I used to just start racing each other, and it it makes us feel good. So as soon as we're done with our fun runs, we would just grab our buckets and we would run to the stream and we would get the water and to go take care of those 3 months crabs. Now we have a lot of acres of it was a lot of acres of vegetables and everything else that my dad planned, and we would have to just may do it manually, root by root, and could miss any of them. And after that, it would take maybe a good hour or hour and a half. So I am going to calculate that in our fun run, that would be maybe another 2 miles, that you have to go back and forth watering those vegetables. After that, we will have to run to the cows and get milk the cows, and go distribute the milk to the community.
So
And then
what time would you guys get to school, primary
so
school?
absolutely, we would have to do everything by at least 7:15, run back to the house and get to school, and we must be at school. Our school used to be an hour and a half, I mean, a mile and a half, 2 miles away from where we live. So we'd have to reach school every morning at 8 a.m. And not just only that, we would have to come back to the house for lunch because my dad, as you can hear my story before, he plant meat. He said, "I plant meat, so you're not gonna get no money, lunch money." We would have to run back to the house to get our lunch and then run back to school. Overpass.
Which parish are we talking about?
Of course, Trelawney. It's in the Litchfield. It's called a little district, Litchfield, in the Waitabit area. My school was in the Waitabit area. I live in Litchfield, and so Trelawney is it's the upper parish of Trelawney, which is the Albert Town, that area coming up. Usain lives in the lower part of Trelawney. So, that was our little life right when we were younger, that pave our way to great places, great, opportunities.
So, can I take it then, based on what you've said? Can I take it? Because my next question to you is going to be, who inspired you to take up sport, specifically track and field? Would you say your dad was your inspiration?
I have to say, my first coach was my dad. And because back then he didn't even understand that, oh wow, he was preparing us for track and field. My dad didn't know anything about no track and field. All he knew was, if you get the dew, if you get up early and you get the dew on your feet, you're going to be stronger. So that was instilling us, and we took that and we ran with it. We're like, ooh, we're gonna get stronger if we get up early. And so I'm gonna say he inspired me. And when we start going to wait a bit all age school, my late Mr. Roy Henry was my next coach, that just took us up and start letting us run at sports day. And from then, we start being great running champions and be, some of the first, maybe the first Jamaicans to open the middle distant arena when it comes on to, Jamaica, and push it that far ahead.
You are from Trelawney. You
Yes,
went to a VERE Technical. The VERE Technical is the winningest girls' school at CHAMPS
absolutely.
with 21 titles. How did that transition happen from over the hills of Trelawney
Yes.
into Clarendon? How did that happen?
Well, the transition was, it came from Dr. Paul Arden. And everybody who is listening, especially in Jamaica, they should know the name Paul Arden. I remembered, of course, our school sports, our parish sports opened the way, because I didn't know anything about no Kingston. I am a Jamaican and didn't know, the first time I went to Kingston was when I was at my all age school. And we would go to Falmouth first, and then we would definitely, if you do well there, you would get the chance to go to the National Stadium. And we went to the National Stadium, and from there was no, parish championship, primary championship. And that's when I got most outstanding girl, because I won the 800 and the 1500. And I remember my little self in the little newspaper in Jamaica. I was so proud. My community was so proud. And from there, Dr. Paul Arden heard about the Turners. And of course, I was the first one, but then my sisters, of course, they also used to run well. Then my Dr. Paul Arden started, um, he has a lot of patients at Wait a Bit all age school. So he would ask one of his patients. And I remembered, Miss Newman would be the one to I remember I slept at her house that day before, and then went to meet Dr. Paul Arden. And, I also need to share that before VERTech found me, Fern Court was where I was supposed to go to school with Mr. Morris Wilson. And
Well, well, well.
Dr. Paul Horton
Story
saw me.
times. Story time.
Yes, the Paul Horton called me at his office in Christiana, and my parents and said, "Look, she's going to VERTech. She's going to be at VERTech."
Tell
So,
me, before we get to VERE, tell me a little bit about the conversation to do with Fern Court.
well, I remembered, for some reason, Mr. Morris Wilson was the first one. I went there for for a visit, and I remember, talking to him and get my uniform and was going to Fern Court. It was in Trelawney, of course, but then Dr. Paul Arden, again, that's what he does. And when he called me, he was very convincing to my parents, and my parents says, yes, VERTech is going to take care of you. And no regrets, no regrets, because when I got there, I got mom away from home, father away from home, mentor, supporters, the great Ben Francis, Mr. Constantine Orton, Mr. Pusey, and everybody, our dumb mother, Miss Emily. Yet, man, it was just a full house. It was so family oriented, and they pave and help us to be who we are today. And I just want to say again on this program, I will always keep those people in my heart.
Beautiful. What a story. Your name is mentioned at Champs, at Girls Champs, so often. I'm watching Girls Champs or I am there, and your name, has been mentioned. You were, Inez, you were unstoppable in the middle distance. You were a beast, if I can say that. Tell me a little bit about that success after what dad did, and then you went to VERE Technical and you're now in a structured training. Tell me a little bit about that.
You know, you said something that touches my heart because, as you said, I was a beast. I was that. I was so ready. I was so into what I was doing when it comes on to my talent because of my upbringing, because of my background. My I was very poor. We were very poor. And I'm not afraid to say how poor we were because these are the stories that we should give out to our youngsters. We still have youngsters who are in that position. I remember just in a little rented house, and it was just one room. We would just have to part that room so my mom and dad could have a little privacy, and we could have a little privacy in our own one bedroom with just one double bed for four kids. And we did not complain of anything. My parents we used to have the best meals. We used to have the best love at home. And I cannot forget, I used to be a businesswoman while I was from maybe 7 years old, because I remember my dad and my mom with the same farm that we used to help with. They would go to the market and sell those crops of things that they plant, and they would take home coconuts. And I start making coconut jobs and start walking up and down my community and selling coconut jobs, and used to make my little money so I could help my parents and my siblings. And
Wow.
those things paved my way, because when I got my scholarship to VERE Technical High School, there was no turning back. I wasn't going to go back, and I got my own bunk bed at VERE. You don't know how joyful that was. And also to help pave the way for other youngsters in my community along with my sisters. And that is why I was a running fool.
Wow.
And I thank God for that.
What a story. Let me tell you, I love to hear you're telling your story, and I'm getting a little teary because of how authentic
Yes.
your story is. You specialize, you see, I've spoken to a lot of very technical past student. Aileen Bailey is on the live. She is one of them also. And let me
Yes,
tell you,
of course.
very technical, and I keep saying this, very technical has produced more Olympians, world champions, athletes for Jamaica's rich track and field legacy than any other school. What a legacy. You specialize in the 8 and the 1500 meters. Which was your favorite?
Well, let's do a little bit more. I was a specialist in the 4 and the 8, and also 15 straight up, because
Four?
yes, 400.
Oh,
You
oh
remember I
wow.
run 51:36 as
Well,
well. So
now.
I went on. That's how I got my bronze medal at the World Games in Athens, Greece, as well. But I would not even question what my coaches wanted me to do, because I was so rounded from 4x1 straight up to 10Ks. But my speciality, of course, my pet event, what I love, my baby, was the 800 for sure.
I see that.
I love the 800 because, again, people can see it was a long sprint. It is a tough race.
Come on, Ines. How can the 800 be a sprint? Sprint is
It is.
100 and 200.
You see what people running nowadays in this 800? Okay,
Yes.
it is a long sprint, and it is nothing that you can settle. The 1500, you get a little time to, you know what, I need to do this. The 800, you got to get out there and you got to be tough. And I love it until this day, because now I see the 800 helps me to be very tough, gives me that push in life, not just on the track, but it helps me to be so trained and ready for what God was preparing me for, and to be this great coach that I am, so that I can pour in what I have to my youngsters today.
Wow, let me tell you, I have not met anybody with this kind of passion for 400 and 800, because I hear that the training is very tough. But before we go any further, there are some people on the discussion saying hello to you. There's Sandy British saying hello. There is Aileen Bailey. There's a Ricardo. Is that Baggio? There's also Ruth Williams Simpson,
Hmm.
who is a 3 times Olympian.
Yes.
She too is also on the live. Inez, this story is beautiful. VERE Technical won Girls Champs 21 times. No other team is even close. The closest is Homo Technical with 10. You you were unbeaten at champs. What was the secret behind your success in Clarendon?
Okay. Aileen is on the line, and I know more other Vertechites are listening.
Yes.
Look, when you step, when you put foot on that soil, Vertech Clarendon, you have no choice but to win, because they walk, sleep, talk, do everything when it comes on to winning. And I love it because, again, it helps. And I'm going to talk about my latter days after that. But when I got to there, the winning spirit was there. And it's not just only, you put out at youngsters out there to say, hey, go win, go win. You got to win. It wasn't like that. Winning wasn't even say win. They didn't even call the word win. What they did was they instilled winning, rounded winning spirit in us at Vertech. They taught us how to get up early in the mornings, like what my dad did. They taught us how to go to class every single day and be on time, like what was instilled in me from early at home. They instill whatever you're doing, both in and out of the classroom, aim for the best. You want to feel good about what you are doing. They also instill in me and in us at Vertech that, remember, think about the day that you got up and be grateful for it. And when you get back home, after you get up and you train and you go to school and you come back and you lie in that bunk bed at there and you're looking up in the ceiling, you should feel good about that day. And that is why we won so much before, because the winning spirit, it was just instilling us in every way and every walk. When you walk from the dorm to class, from the dorm to the track, the winning spirit was always there in our head.
Wow, very technical. You were dominant at champs. Who were some of your threatening rivals? Did you have anybody that could beat you at champs?
Well, I am going to say Reveille Campbell was very good in the 400. Margie Bailey was also very good in the 400. Our main threat in the distant area was Karen Bennett. And also some of my Vertech elders that I went there, um, and when I went when I went there. But I'm going to be honest with you, and I love what I got from Vertech, from Jamaica, and from everywhere in my college school everywhere. I love the I love the competition. Yes, there were competition, but to me, I was so focused. I was so focused on winning. Like, I don't want no, I hate losing. And what it helps me nowadays, no doubt, I'm 51 years old and I have to deal with my children and my youngsters, is the winning spirit. It just rolls over because those days when it comes on to having the threat, it get you ready for now. And yes, there were threats, but I was so trained. I was the way I beat people was that I outwork people. And that is exactly what I'm doing today. How are you going to take care of your opponents? How are you going to be your best? You have to outwork people. And people listening, understand this. My outwork is different from your outwork. You're not getting my secret. However, I'm going to give you some. You outwork people, and it's a certain way you outwork people.
So when you come to girls champs and you line up in that 800 or that 1500, nobody around you made you nervous?
Um, So, because I was so trained and I hear youngsters, and this is why I can give back when it comes on to advising, because there's going to be your blood vessels, you're gonna your whole body is gonna be shaking a little bit that you are getting ready for something. It shouldn't be to the point where you're over nervy and afraid. How you take care of that is that during practice, you put yourself through that limit. You pass your threshold. You get uncomfortable in training so that when you get to that line, you are just got I used to do some things to kind of psych out my opponents because I know that I was ready. I used to just jump up on the line. I used to do my run throughs because if you walk to that line and you look droopy, you're like, I know, and people look. But when you do that, they're gonna be like, oh Lord, Inez is ready.
But
But you
but
get
Inez, I know athletes now when they go to champs and when they line up in that race and they see another school kit, they get nervous.
yes,
Then they get so
yes,
nervous that they are not able to perform.
and it is again to that point where they're not able to perform. It's because they have to go back and go to the drawing table when it comes on to training, because many our coaches, and I know we have great coaches. Training, now that I'm a coach, training also mimics what you're going to do in competition. And so there are gonna be times when it comes on to the preseason and the top season that your workout is gonna change, and it's gonna change to race day, some of your race day some of your race day competition. And if you get online, especially if you have teammates that can beat you and you line up with them and you see what they're doing, it's gonna help you. Some of that nervy, that's how you get some of that. And again, it takes practice, it takes training, it takes mindset. Many of it also is mental. You gotta be
I'm glad that you go
yes,
mental
you got
because
to be you got to be mentally strong. If you know within your heart that what I just said, that you did all that in training, you race against your teammates when it's time, when coach say, give me a full 200, give me your best 200, give me your best 400, give me your best 600, and you do that in training, then the rest belongs to you and your mindset.
wow. With
Yes.
that said, you some of your alumni are on the live here. There is a Dorothy Scott. Do you know the name
I
Dorothy
love
Scott?
my sister. Yes, she is my elder sister from there.
Ethlyn Tate is also
And that's
there.
another one that paved the way for us. They were before me. Love you guys. You know that.
Wow, wow.
Oh,
What a
you're gonna let me
family.
cry.
What a family Veer Technical has. Even years after you guys retire from the sport, you are still, in touch with each other.
Yes.
Um you went to the Carifta. Tell me a little bit about your international career, the Carifta World Juniors. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, as again, Vertec, it prepares you for the upper, not just boys champs and girls champs, not for just for the local races. They also prepare you. Mr. Ben Francis makes sure, our coaches at VERE, they prepare us for the track for sure. And within that preparing on the track, they also prepare you mentally. As we talk about mental state, Mr. Ben Francis also make sure that we are professionals when we get our image. He makes sure that we know that our image was also everything, and he would just prepare us for beyond Jamaica. And when I get to the other countries, for the Caribbean Games, because we display what was going on when it comes on to getting ready for to win your event at the boys and girls championship. Then you know for sure that if you're doing this well here, you look at your Caribbean people, yes, you're going another further, but again, it comes with that mindset. And you will tell yourself that if I'm doing this, beating all these people here, and we have the best athletes in Jamaica, then hey, I'm ready for anybody else in the world.
We sure do. We sure do. I right now I am locked in a bet. I'm about to lose 500 US dollars, and
Uh oh.
you'll have to help me to save it, because a friend of mine who is also on the live, Marlene Green, she told me that apart from you and Yvette, there is another sister. Now I told her, Inez, you need to help me to save my 500 US dollars. I told her it was only you and Yvette. Is there another sister?
No, you lost your 500. Of course, there was.
Oh my
Janice.
God.
Nobody cannot forget Janice. So here it is. I am. Tell her she gonna have to share that five with me. But anyways, it was Yvette, Janice. So here it is, Heather. Inez in the 8 and the 4. You catch Janice in the 1500 and the 3000, and you go back. So Inez killing people in the 800 and the 400. Then they step on the other side. Yvette is killing it in the 1500 and the 3000. And there comes Janice in cross country and all that stuff. It was just epic when it comes on to the Turners. And I hope I will get 250 from this money. But you lost. I'm
Listen,
sorry. You should have asked me that question earlier. I could have helped
look
you out.
here. Me lose my money, my big five hundred
No
dollars
man, you
US,
can't bet.
because she keeps saying that there is a third sister,
Yes,
Janice. And
absolutely.
I know of Yvette, because I think Yvette still have a
The 3000.
class three champs record
Yes,
to this day
yes, she
that is
does.
unbroken. So,
Yes.
oh my God. I
Oh
was
my.
hoping, that you would help me, Inez.
No
I'm a
man,
big fan,
I
and I was
I couldn't
hoping that.
I couldn't say no because they already know.
Yes, yes. Well, with that said, we're going to segue a little bit now to your college career, Barton College, and of course, Texas. Tell me a little bit about that transition to university.
Well, the transition becomes even easier. As I said before, VERTEC prepares us. My younger days in Trelawney, feeding the cows and taking care of my dad and my mom's farm prepares us. Um, People at VERE, teachers straight down to the dorm mother, they get us ready for overseas. When I got to Barton County Community College in the 1990, um, 92, I'm sorry, it wasn't as easy because we were in the middle of nowhere, and anybody know where Barton County Community College is. It's very cold. Ice, we have never seen no snow before. And so because we were so tough, or we were so ready, I was so driven for success. I was so much ready to make a difference in my family life. I was so ready to make a difference in other youngsters in my community life. I was ready to pave the way. And so it becomes, where it was a little bit hard, it becomes easy, because when your mind is ready, your mind talks to your body. And so getting to Barton County, again, I was truly dominant. I was also inducted in the Junior College Wall of Fame, and it speaks testament of what I did there. And then our coach, we also got a great coach, Randy Cole, who picks up from Tech and definitely was a father away from home, who took care of us. And the sweetest thing about it was that when I went there, Juliet Campbell was there, Beverly Campbell, Beverly McDonald was there. So I have sisters away from home that was there, and it becomes so much easier. Again, it was a little bit hard when it comes on to the weather. We didn't have an indoor track, but we make it happen, and we broke records. And that is why today I went to my one of my college, and I pick up where we didn't have a track, and we both becomes great champions. And so God knows what he was doing during those days, because it helps us to be who we are, and to push beyond the ordinary.
Going to Texas, how different was the training from VERE Technical to Barton, and now you're in one of the elite university in America? Tell me a little bit about that.
If you should find any of my coaches from Veritech onward, they will tell you that my work ethics is beyond the ordinary. Um, I do anything that was asked. I was prepared for. I have hard coaches. They were hard coaches, tough coaches. But the good thing about it is I know what it takes to be tough, because Mr. Constantine, or late Constantine Orton, he was very tough. And I still have some of my workouts in me that I tweak up and give my college kids. And moving on to Barton County, my Barton County coach was very tough as well. And it becomes even harder with the weather, but we made it. Going to Texas State University, I got a Russian coach. The way I went there is because um, I heard of Galina Bukarina, and she was a national coach for the Russian team. She moved to the US, and she was the head coach at Texas State University. That's why I went there. I wasn't afraid of no work. It was hard, very hard. I wasn't afraid of anything they put to me, any tests, anything. I am there, killing it, ready to go, because I said, I know that I had to be that tough for my sisters, for my family, and for anybody else. And it makes you feel good. I always wanted to be extra when it comes on to being the best. So I have to train hard, and I wasn't afraid of the hard work.
I heard that the NCAA circuit is brutal. That's what I've heard. Tell me a little bit about your experience competing at the nationals and the NCAA overall.
The NCAA, yes, it can be tough when it comes on to the difference the difference events when it comes on to your college scheduling. Okay, almost every week you have a track meet, and so again, it was not for me, and I'm pretty sure for all of our Jamaicans. It may take a little while to adapt to it, but because you are so um used to hard work, everything just fits in. You know, it can be where most coaches, and I think some of the coaches need to, it depends on the athletes as well, because you have to understand who you're dealing with. I always believe that you have three different personalities when it comes on to who you're dealing with. And I'm talking about three different personalities when it comes on to people in everyday life and our main student athletes. Who are you dealing with? Some athletes can take on so much, some cannot take on so much. You have to know how to tweak and to be strategic. If you have an athlete who you see they're coming from a school in Jamaica where they used to run, and you're coming to put on such a rigorous scheduling on them, then you may want to pull back and give them race every other week, every other 3 weeks, or something like that, so that you can kind of get them ready for the scheduling. Many a times our athletes come here and they're just, you got students who have not gone where they're supposed to or reach where they're supposed to, because we need to know that we have to be strategic with some of our athletes. To be honest with me, you can do anything with to me, I'm a piece of rock, but then you do have athletes as well who needs to kind of mold and need in the system, and to know that, okay, this is what it's going to be. And that's why there's a lot of schools that sometimes they took the athletes freshmen on, and they will sit them out for the first year. So that those factors are very important to get the athletes to the next level.
Sports and academics can be tough to balance both. What was your strategy in balancing both?
My strategy was I when it comes on to academics, with my rigorous training schedule, of course, I was one of the best, if not the best, distant athlete in Jamaica. So I am always called to compete for Jamaica during the summertime. And so many of the times when you get back after the summer games, they already started school 2, 3 weeks ahead. So you have to be, again, mentally tough. You have to want it. You have to be a go getter to do that. Um, I told myself that I was going to be the first to graduate with a bachelor's degree in my family. I have people who was going to be following me, and so I could not falter by the wayside. And that is why every time I go to class, I would, especially after those games when I'm behind, when it comes on to the scheduling because of training, because of the selecting of the championships, I would go and I would make sure, no matter how big the classes were, I would go and I would make sure that my professors know who I was. I will make sure go get catch up lesson, use their office hours just to make sure find bright people in other class and sit with them and say, how did you do this? And listen, it can be done, it can be hard, but it can be done. And you're not just doing it to say, oh, this is gonna kill me. It makes you stronger. And as a youngster, as a teenager coming up, as a young adult, you have to understand that God prepares and gives you a process. Our life is a process. And rather than sitting down to say, oh, I missed 3 weeks of class, oh, I couldn't do this, you have to understand that you're becoming an adult, that you're going to be on your own. There's not going to be any professor, there's not going to be any coaches, there are not going to be any parents, and you got to know that this is what's going to make you who you are. And that is why I truly believe, and I thank God for this, why I become a strong adult.
Wow, what a story you have here. We're going to segue now. College, competing for Jamaica as a professional, as a senior. Tell me a little bit about that transition. Take your time.
um um of course, you as you hear my story before, I was halfway through getting ready for that, because the way I was running, I knew then that I have to go and make some money as well. And the good thing about what Texas State did for me, the good thing, we talk about how you have to know how to strategically deal with a youngster coming out. At in Jamaica, I ran a lot of races. I was back and forth a whole lot because I used to be everywhere. I used to make the Carifta games and all that and all that. And when I moved to the States, after my and I did a lot in junior college. So my last 2 years, I really, really wanted to not have a very rigorous scheduling. And that is why I chose Texas State University, because it wasn't a great school, a big school, but it wasn't where they were going to win the NCAA as a team. I also wanted to be the first. I also want to left something at the school that I was going to. I want to be the best. I chose Texas State University because it wasn't where they have a dominance when it comes on to the athletes going to win as a team. So it wasn't going to be where Inez, when you make it to the NCAA, you're gonna run 4x1, you're gonna run 4x2, you have to run the 4x4. I was focused on just winning my 400 and 800 meters. And as a matter of fact, even as great as I was and could possibly win in the 400, my coaches were preparing me and keep me focused on the 800. So I wasn't worked as much as the other years. I was also ready and I could drop my best times because I remember I won two NCAA back to back, the 94 95 NCAA 800 meter. And I ran 2:00, almost go under 2 minutes in college. And that's what helps and paved me to get to the circuit and to make some money. So I was ready for it. My college get me ready for it. And again, you got to start thinking, our youngsters got to start thinking, what's best for me? What is going to help me to continue love the sports? What is going to help me to continue make me great and to push my way and get to where I want to go to?
Many Jamaican athletes, I've heard the saying and I've seen it myself. The Jamaica national trials is one of the toughest competition for Jamaicans. I keep hearing it. Now, how did you prepare yourself to come back to Jamaica for the trials and make the Olympic team when you did?
Um, it takes discipline for sure. Because I remember I was not given when it comes on to, let's talk about the first 2 years of college in Barton County. My coach after the national championship, the NCAA Junior College National Championship, we were on our own basically. And of course, my coach would give us the workout. So those 2 years after the championship, my sister Janice was my coach. My coach would write the workouts and Janice would be the coach timing me, and it was discipline that we get out and train every single day up to the trial. So I didn't have a coach to say, Inez, this is what you need. My sister Janice and I, we did it by ourselves. When I ran my fastest 400 meter and make it that, it was 1997 when I got on the 4x4 in Athens when we got that bronze medal. My sister Janice was my coach during after our championship, because my coach at that time would have to go out, and this is the time they prepare for recruiting trips. And so it takes discipline for sure. And again, once you have a mindset, once you tell yourself that you're going to do something and you prepare yourself for that, you'll make it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. How were you able to manage your injuries? Injuries is a big, big problem in sport. How were you able to manage your injuries in order to stay fit when it's game time?
There is a lot of technology nowadays that definitely helps in that area and detect some of the injuries that can take place and helps to lower that level. However, some of the simple things still stands. I believe champions speak the same language. What happened then happens now. You have to take care of your body. That's first and foremost. And taking care of your body just doesn't mean that you just eat right and you go train and that's it. You got to sleep right. You got to warm up and cool down. You've got to definitely know that these little things make a huge difference. You cannot just get up and jump on the track and start training. You got to know what it takes to warm up and get your body ready. When you're finished cooling down, I've seen some athletes, and it still happens today, where you have a rigorous sprint workout, especially, and you grab your bags after training and you're gone. I remember Merlin Ati. I learned so much from Merlin Ati, our queen. I watched that lady. I think Merlin is what? How old is Merlin now? And I believe that Merlin can still stretch better than most athletes, younger athletes now, because that lady, she took time out to cool down herself so much and stretch and get herself ready. And I mimic Merlin. I used to be around her around the circuit so much. I just mimic and see how much. When Merlin finished running, I used to watch Merlin take maybe almost 45 minutes to an hour getting herself back to comfort zone.
It's
And
it's
those are
funny. It's funny that you mentioned Marlene because And maybe that was what contributed to her longevity, because Merlin has the record for the Jamaican that has been to the most Olympic Games. Merlin has been to the Olympic Games 7 times,
Mm,
6 times for
yes,
Jamaica and
yes,
1 time for Slovenia. I
yes,
mean, that kind of accomplishment. And it is funny that you mention how you
yes,
take care of your body.
yes, absolutely. Eat right, take your proper rest. Very, very important. If you want your body to give you the best, then you've got to give your body the best. It's like a car.
Yeah.
You cannot just drive. You're gonna have to definitely know how to maintain.
Wow. I like this part of my interview. I like to talk about you guys' achievement. A matter of fact, I like to remind you guys of what you have done and thank you, because many times you guys are not aware collectively of how much you have done for our track and field legacy. You, Inez Turner, I mean, Olympian back in 1996, world. You've been to the World Championship 1993, 1995, 1997, indoors 1995, 1997, CSC Games 1990, 1993, Pan Am Junior and Senior Games 1991, the Commonwealth Games 1994, World Junior Games 1990, Texas University Hall of Fame. You were inducted 2019. A personal best in the 400 meters, 51.38, set back in 1993. The 800 meter, 1 minute 59.49 in 1995. Notable awards: Austin Seeley Trophy, outstanding athlete back in 1991. 1994 Commonwealth gold medalist, 1997 World Championship bronze medalist with Lorraine Fenton, Dion Hemmings, Sandy Richards. 1997 world champion, national record in the 4x4. Inez, you are a part of greatness. You are a part of greatness. You have played a vital role in our track and field. Tell me in just one sentence how you feel to be a part of all of this and Jamaica.
Very blessed and grateful. And you know, it helps me to really what you just read out. I'm like, whoa, she knows a lot. That's a lot. But I just want to say thank God for using me as a vessel, because what those days, what you just read out, it also, not only am I going back, it helps me to go back and give back to the sport. That helps me to be who I am. It also gives that testament on paper to my athletes and to many our youngsters in the world, to see that this lady is not just talking, she did this. And so I'm very happy that I got the opportunity to go back when it comes on to I'm at Fayetteville State University, where I got the opportunity to write a scholarship for a youngster. You know how great that feels to go back and get anyone that needs the opportunity, both nationally and internationally, that opportunity, just like what someone took the chance on me before, to go back and say, hey, here is the opportunity, because this is what it can do for you. Truly a blessing, and I praise God for that.
Amen. Indeed. Davian Clark is actually on the live and he's singing you great praises. A matter of fact, Davian said, if it was not for Ines, I would have starved in Europe for my first trip. Wow. Davian also said, my travel partner on all our trips to Europe. And she is the one that show me how to travel between countries, or I would still be in Germany at an airport. Oh my God, what a story! What a friendship! Inez Turner, you are greatness. You are greatness. And I mean, as I tell you, I've watched you run so many. I used to look forward to, a matter of fact, You were the one that got me to like the middle distance at champs, because
Wow.
when you hear that the 800 and the 1500 is
Hmm.
coming up, and
Hmm.
Inez Turner with that headband,
Yes.
will your signature, that signature, I don't know how many people remember, but you
Yes.
used to run in a white headband, and
Absolutely.
people would know who you are. Track fans like myself would know that that is your signature. I mean, Inez, personally, I want to tell you thanks for your contribution to our legacy, our rich legacy, and we continue to build on it. I mean, you are in company with the likes of Herb McKinley, George
Mm,
Roden, Merlene
mm,
Otti,
mm,
Cynthia Thompson,
mhm,
Vilma Charlton,
mhm.
Dorothy, Ruth, so many people, Bert Cameron, Jackie Pusey. I can go on all night. Davian Clark, the whole work. I could go on all night. Your teammates from VERE, Etlin, Dion
Yes.
Hemmings, the
Yes.
whole work.
Yes.
If I should call names tonight, we would not leave here.
Absolutely.
We would not leave here
Yes.
tonight. VERE is no stranger to producing talents on the world stage. We're talking about Dorothy, we're talking about Merlene,
Mm.
Veronica, you, Aileen, Dion Hemmings, Michael Blackwood, Steve Mullins, Sharika Jackson,
Wow.
Lasina Golden Clark, Beverly McDonald,
The greats.
the greats.
The greats.
And that's
Absolutely.
all, and that is all very technical. Tell me honestly about your feeling. You're a part of Veer Technical, that is the winningest school at Champs, and also the school with the most outstanding athletes on the world stage.
No matter what becomes of there, no matter what schools become the top schools, which I love because, as I said before, someone may be like, Ines, what's going on with there now? I said, look, let me tell you something. There is always there with a big V, a capital V, because we still have the most Olympians and the legacy lives on. Our best of the best, Sharika Jackson, reigning big time. But I said to myself, I said, okay, God knows that everybody trains. Everybody's going to taste. All schools going to taste and taste what it feels like to be on top. And I feel wonderful. I feel so humbled to be in the company of these names that you just called. As you said, if we should call names, we would not leave here tonight. But these are the people, and I am happy for a program like yours because what you're doing is letting our youngsters who are there keeping the flag flying to understand who was the first and whose shoulders they're sitting on.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. This is, I mean, I like to talk about this, and I'm sure people hear the passion in my voice, because I am here because I want the know to know who the pioneers are. And as I said before, your name still call at girls champs. Your name is still calling at girls champs when we go back in time. Let us talk a little bit about endorsement and earnings. Were you able to earn a living from competing in the sport?
Um, I am I am very much good with my little money, to be honest with you. Um, you know for sure, as I said, I talk about the shoulders that youngsters are sitting on. We paved the way because track and field now is there is money with track and field versus when we used to do this. Even though our appearance fee was not as much, you know, again, I feel proud. I have nothing to feel regrets about because, again, we talk about if it wasn't for us, track and field wouldn't be, you know what, let's move this up. They deserve this. Track and field needs to be respected. We need to give them. And so it's a lot more shoe company that's buying in. It's a lot more other companies that give in endorsement. And it comes from our voice and what we used to endure. We didn't have but maybe a couple of shoes or stuff like that, or our a parent's fee maybe anywhere between 2005 and maybe eight, 5,000, $10,000, or even less at some of the meets. But now, we can say, I help to get a parent's fee. I help to get endorsement. I help to have our youngsters, our track and field straight, our track and field athletes getting what they deserve. And I pray that they'll continue to look at track and field as other sports, because they put in track and field people, students, and track and field athletes. They put a whole lot. They do a lot of work, and they deserve to get paid.
Indeed, I totally agree with you. When you were signing contracts as a youngster, how were you educated about these things? Signing your contracts, what to look for, investment, retirement. Were you guys educated this way, or you had to go out and get external help to sign the right contract?
My Dr. Paul Auden was always my mentor, and I definitely will talk with him. I got a contract from Nike, thank God. I got a lot of clothes that I could feed and feed my family with when it comes on to, just giving them gears, and the money that I used to get. It wasn't wasn't as much as, but because I was so happy for it, and it helps me to do a lot when it comes on to being strategic with that amount. It wasn't as today when you find financial advisors and all that good stuff now, but again, it's the way we pave, and thank God we were a part of it. I'm very happy to be a part of it, paving that way to make it better.
And with that said, we're going to segue into retirement from the sport. How did you know when to hang up your spikes and to walk away from the sport as an athlete?
um to be honest, your body tells you.
I keep getting that answer. I keep getting that answer. Yeah.
Your body tells you, and then your mind will also, you will sit down and you will definitely dig deep. It's hard because it's something that you've been doing from day one. And if anyone can remember, after having my three children, I went back to pen relays and run a 54 and a 208, because during that time I was still tug and warring with myself. I think I have a little bit more left in me. But your body will tell you. And the good thing about it too, the sweetest thing is, you're not going to be tag and warring with yourself when you use your earlier days, when you use the opportunity day after day. You hear me talk about getting up day by day and feeling good about that day, because you will not see that day again. It feels good when you get to that point and you look back to say, whoa, I told myself I was going to be the first Jamaican to go under 2 minutes. Not only was I the first Jamaican to go under 2 minutes, I was the first in the Caribbean speaking country to go under 2 minutes. I feel great about that after reaching that level. So those looking back will let you know, and getting tired and feeling your body getting there will let you know that I have achieved. Thank God I did my part, and I'm ready to go and give back. So that was, that's how I knew that I was ready.
Many have said that retiring from the sport is difficult for different reasons. Was it hard for you?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
No, many I've spoken to quite a few athletes and they said, retiring from the sport is hard and stuff. Some people say, "Oh, it was easy. I just said I'm done." And it was, how difficult was it for you, if it was difficult?
It was difficult. It definitely was difficult because, as I said, your body tells you you'll get up every morning, you're still going out there. I still get out there and walk and want to. I just have to be careful too, because as a coach, I'm out there showing them, okay, this is how you stretch, this is how you do this, this is how, so it was difficult. However, as I said before, you have to know when to give it up, and your body tells you, your mindset. Well, looking back, here's what helps me to give it up. I keep on telling myself that I am pleased with my achievement. I think I did all I could.
Amen.
That's how every day it makes me know that, you know what, yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
Looking back at your track and field career, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Um Just maybe, just maybe, really not much, but maybe I would do more hardcore to run, maybe because I feel like I could go faster in the 800. Looking back, being a coach now, I would definitely run more hardcore over distance. When I said over distance, running way more 1500s on the national level. But
You are now involved in track and field because I follow you on social media and I've seen your post. Tell me a little bit about that transition from being an athlete to now being a coach. Are your athletes, are they as disciplined as you were?
uh, um so for sure, some, as I said, you're dealing with three different types of personalities, of course. Some want to know concretely that this is what I want to do. There are some that, they are there because their parents says you can do this, or their family says this is what you need to do. Some are there because they're getting a track and field scholarship, the talent is there. My main thing is I do a lot of motivational speeches to my athletes, because as you said, are they disciplined like I was? Absolutely not to that level. However, I make them. I get them close to that level, if not to that level. Because when I see talent and you get in those youngsters' mindset and you let them know that you think about this, you are here. Why are you here? And once they said, I'm here because I love track and field, I don't want to hear anything else because I'll take it to the next level. And again, as coaches, as mentors, as educators, our youngsters today, they are totally different. They have a different mindset from us before. And so we have to know that God has given us that pathway, bring us through that process to feed some of what we know that's best, that used to work for us, and that is going to be best for them, because some of them still don't know what's best for them, and you have to continue to knead and mold and encourage and get them to that level. And I have seen in my programs, thank God, that he is using me. I've seen in my programs where I use athletes that didn't even know that they can make it to NCAA. Walk-ons get in full scholarship. And then they will know and believe in themselves more that, whoa, is this me? Being nurses, doctors, graduate with 4.0s, didn't come in with 2.0s, come in with, oh, I just run 26, but here am I leaving college running 23s. That's why we are there. And I truly believe that's why God chose people like myself.
I see where Jenny is. I'm watching the comments and I see Jenny's post something. Wait till her daughter busts on the scene. I hope that she will be donning the black, green, and yellow. I'm just saying. Tell me a little bit about your daughter.
I was trying to keep that down, Miss Chambers. But
Well,
I
she
post
opened the
one.
can.
I did one post on Kimura. I think it was 3 weeks or a month ago, because I was very excited. My last daughter, Kimura, she's doing track. She's not in it fully yet because of my job. I just come home and I'll take her to practice twice per week. And she's one of the. She has some fast twitch in her. She's mostly a sprinter, not training really. She run like a 27 already, and she's down to maybe 1290 something, and I believe that she got some turners in her. So I'm just gonna let her enjoy. She's
Mhm.
about to go to high school, and she's gonna get the opportunity to be around a good coach. So you guys keep praying for her.
Yes, I will.
I am really hoping that she continues, but I'm gonna let her enjoy.
Thank you, Janice, for that little bit of info. Ines, did you always know that you want to do coaching when you retire?
Nope. I have no idea. that I was going to be. I thought, okay, after retirement, because a lot of people who knows what track and field athletes do, that we do a lot of traveling, especially when you make it to the top level when it comes on to the circuit. The circuit is where they call it the circuit because you're going around in circle day after day, week after week. This week you're in Russia, the next week you're in Italy, the other week you are in Germany, and so on and so on. So after my professional years, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna relax with my family, my children. I'm not. I'm just gonna relax, find a little job and maintain, and enjoy my life. I'm not traveling no more because I'm tired of traveling. And lo and behold, when the good Lord says, get up and move and go back and give back, don't understand. This is not just for you. What you are doing, the things that you're doing in this world as a servant of God, it's not just for you.
That's right.
He is doing this for you and giving you everything that you got to go give back. That is what the process of life is. And you better get up when he says move, because I couldn't say no. My first one of my first coaching job, head coaching job, was at Winston-Salem State University. And when I got there, Alcion Knight, I think if I say the name, people will remember her. She used to be also one of our Jamaican jumper. She was school here in the States, but she was the head coach at Winston-Salem State, and she keep on asking me, Inez, come and be my assistant. I know you can do well with the distant athletes. I'm like, no, I am not traveling. I can't take no traveling because in the college life, college athletics, you have to travel week by week by week. And I'm like, nope, not doing it. And she called me 3 times. The last time she called me and she said, okay, Inez, just come and do the interview. And I honestly said, I'm gonna just do the interview. And for some reason, they called me and said, Inez, will you accept? My mouth, I didn't open my mouth, but all I know, my mouth was open and I have to say yes. And from
Wow.
there, I really understand that God wants me to do this because it's for his glory. And I praise him and thank him for that.
Indeed, indeed. You cook for your athletes. As I said, I follow you on social media and I've seen them. You cook for, how did you come up with this idea to treat your athletes, your team with Jamaican style cooking?
Let me tell you something. As you hear me say, I do a lot of motivation because I remember what motivation do for me when I was a student athlete. And I used to just love when somebody says, hey, good job. Or say, Inez, here's something you did great. What I do, I can cook very well. I made my own Jamaican jerk seasoning and all that good stuff. And for some reason, I think about how to keep motivating these youngsters. As we talk about, you got to know how and the strategies. One of my strategy is to cook for them. And I will tell them, okay, just keep remembering, if you win championship, Coach Turner cooks her Jamaican dish, which is rice and peas and chicken, white rice, curry chicken, stewed chicken, oxtail, whatever you're gonna taste, our Jamaican food.
I've
And
seen the
they,
pictures.
I don't know why I did that because now that I'm getting older, it takes a whole lot, but I still do it because the joy of them eating and feeling that, oh, you know what? Hey guys, we're gonna win again because we need more of this, and it's a joy. I love it. My second hobby is cooking.
I like it. When I saw it
Yeah.
on social media, I'm like, wow, this is a very good idea. And this is someone who enjoy, what they are doing. But you have been a middle distance athlete for a long time. Jamaica's legacy really started out with the 400 and the 800 winning at back-to-back Olympic games with Mr. Herb McKinley and Mr. George Roden and Arthur
Mhm,
Wint. But we seem to be struggling a little bit, not a little bit, a lot in the middle and the long distance.
mhm.
Any ideas what you think we need to do? Because what I realize is that after we've seen so many great talent at champs, But you went further and you competed for the country at the highest level. We've seen so many 800 and 1500 meter athletes doing so well. The girls running under 2 minutes, the boys
Yes,
running lower than,
yes,
146,
yes,
140, that kind of thing,
yes.
148. But yet, the talents are not being filtered
Hmm.
anywhere. The
Yes,
sprinters are being filtered in different
yes.
camps and universities, but the middle and the long distance athletes are not being filtered anywhere. Your thoughts on that?
Okay, I'm gonna drop that on my coaches in Jamaica. Come get
Please
me,
do.
guys.
Please, please.
um, because when you look at Latoya, who is definitely running so fast in the 800, you do have some Edwin Allen athletes. I'm gonna not only just talking about Edwin Allen. Everywhere in Jamaica, there's more than 400 student athletes there, and so we have to definitely start, putting some more focus on getting them to know that, what, this youngster is running 206. We got a lot of students running 206, 205s. Those are the very same athletes. I used to run those times. Those are the very athletes that need to definitely get pushed. And I truly believe that, um also when they get to the states, because those athletes are running, they're running those times, it's also coming back to where they go to school. Are they coming over to the states? Are they maintaining, are the coaches maintaining what they're, are they maintaining our upper distant athletes? Are they continuing to push themselves even after college? Is there a focus on where they go and how? Because there are a lot of schools that after you go there as a 400, 800 athlete, honestly, I truly believe that many of our athletes who are running even the 400 can run good 800. And it's for that coach to kind of feed it to those athletes. And of course, the athletes have to know that they can do it as well. Because if you have an athlete who is running a 54 and they're stuck at 54, 55s, and even 53, and you try them in, you know what, I'm going to give you a hard 600, and you watch that 600 or that 500 time get even equivalent faster than what they can do when it comes on to in between that 4 and that 600, what are you seeing, coaches? Are you seeing a true 800 runner here? So it comes back to, yes, I know the mindset of student at the youngsters, they want to keep 400 and below, but we are Jamaicans, we have every level of discipline when it comes on to running from the 800 straight up. We do have that, and we have
I
to start continuing to feed it more in our athletes head that they are better, they can be better, if they continue to push and, loving it
I
more, loving it
I
more.
I agree with you. Latoya in the on the live, she's saying, how do we get them to remain focused and dedicated to the distant events? Go ahead, Ines.
So again, I as we talk about our athletes nowadays got a different mindset than what we
Sprinters.
used to be.
Everybody wants to be a
Everybody wants to
sprinter.
be sprinters. Here's what I do with my athletes when it comes on to the college level, because this is a great example that I can give. Many of our youngsters that comes to us, they want, if you look at the sprint side, and it's all over here in Jamaica, in the US. Your team is full of sprinters, jumpers, and a very few when it comes on to the distance side. There are so many times when, as again, it comes on to the coaches. There are many times when I have to look at an athlete who comes in who said they are a sprinter and move them up. And it takes a while because their focus on I'm a sprinter is shorter. What I do feed them with is understand that when you start training for this 800, the training is not even, yes, it can be, don't think because it's longer, it's harder training. It's just how strategically you're going to put that workout together. And I have athletes before who comes in, and I remember running 57 and just stuck at 57 and just sit down one day and just feed it in that athlete head that your bread and butter, you are going to win a medal if you run the 800. Let's start off, indoors, you put her in a 600. You don't just fling her up in 800 or fling her up in 1500. You take your time and you strategically move them up. And, the athletes understand that, whoa, what was I doing in the 400? Yes, you're going to keep them doing some 400 because they need that for the leg turnovers for the 800, because the better their 400, their 800 is going to get better. And so the 800, better the 800, they can do better in the 1500. And many a times it takes the coach to for sure get in their head and let them know that, you're not making it in the 400. You're not even traveling in the 400. You're not even traveling in the 200. And here you are, becomes the best athlete in the 800.
I think as a country we need to put some focus on creating a space, because we know that not everybody is going to go to college. Not everyone is cut out for university. So what about if we have a club, and this club is about middle and long distance? If you're a sprinter, do not apply here. If you're a sprinter, do not walk through our doors, because you have so many in the last few years, especially on the boys' side. You've seen where the 800-meter record, it has been broken twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, where do these young men and these young ladies who enjoy the 800 at Champs, where are all of them now?
Yes.
We could sit
Yes.
here and
Mm-hmm.
call a list of names, but if we
Yes.
could have a club where who don't want to go to university can
Mm-hmm.
continue, because sport is a business, Inez.
Yes.
Sport has become a career. When I was growing up, my father think that when sport is just about running around like you don't have any sense, but it is so structured now where it is a big money career and you
Yes.
can make a career. So what are we really doing? We need a space where people can say, okay, when I leave high school, if I'm running a 1 minute 48 as a boy, then I can go and register with this club at 18. By the
Mm-hmm.
time I get to 22, I should be able to lower that running 1 minute 45 somewhere
Yes.
there.
Yes.
uh, so
Absolutely.
we
Absolutely.
need to do some work. We need to
Yes.
create a space.
That is so true. That is so true. And I truly believe we're so talented in Jamaica, we can get together and we can do some things for that, for sure. No doubt.
I don't know. I would love to see, and to be honest with you, it's something I am thinking about. I want to see the middle and the long distance at global championships. I want to see that 2-lap race. Let me tell you, earlier you said the 800 is a sprint, and you are right.
Yes, it is.
The
Yes, it is.
800.
Yes, it is. And just touching back on when you say create a space, I love what's going on in Jamaica when it comes on to being having our track and field arenas. It's rounded. If you look at our look at our throwers,
Oh my
a lot
God.
of people. We got pole
Listen,
vaulters. We got
listen. In the field is now becoming Jamaica, the face
yes,
of Jamaica's track and field, apart from our
absolutely.
women. The
Yes,
field has taken over male sprinting. When
yes.
you look at those three young men from Arkansas
Mm-hmm.
University who will be representing Jamaica at the World
World
Championship,
Championship.
these
Yes,
young
yes,
men, they
yes,
are
yes.
just leaving high school a few years ago. A matter of fact, Jaden Ibert left high school early last year. Wayne Pinnock was at school during the pandemic. It is brilliant. We have three women in the triple jump at the World
Mm-hmm.
Championship
Yes,
last
yes,
year.
yes, yes.
Another VERE standout in the middle, Kimberly Williams.
Absolutely,
Another
absolutely.
high jumper, Kimberly Williamson, former of VERE Technical.
Yep.
So we have
Yes.
all these talents. And I tell people, anywhere you go in track and field, once you're doing well, you can get your glory.
Of course, definitely. And as I said, we have talented coaches that can coach any event in Jamaica. That's who we are. That is why the world look back on what are they doing in Jamaica. We are ready for anything, and so yes, we must put more focus on the distance running for sure.
I totally agree. We can do it because Mr. Herb McKinley won. silver medal 1952 in the
Yes.
800. He won
Yes.
silver medal
Yep.
again 1948 at the Olympics. We won a quinella in the 400 1948
Yes.
and 1952 with her Arthur Winter and Herb, and then George Roden and Herb. So that's where we started.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have, we
So,
can do it, but the
yes.
focus, we need a space. We need a
Yes. For
space.
sure. For sure. For sure.
We need a
Absolutely.
space.
I agree. I agree.
We need a space. And Inez, you will have to call them out. But I'm going to play a little game with you now before we
Yes.
close off. I'm going to test your memory. I want you to tell me about some of your teammates, some of the people who you've made team with, the Jamaican team with, and which school they attended.
Oh Lord. All right. Sandy Richards. I think she went to Clarendon College.
Correct?
Oh Lord. um. Um. Juliet Campbell, St. Jago.
Correct.
Beverly McDonald, Vertec.
Correct.
Merlin Fraser, Vertec.
Correct.
Catherine Scott, Vertec.
Catherine Scott went to Vertec?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you for that information.
All right, Lorraine Fenton. Lorraine Fenton, was it Manchester? Woo. Or
No,
Homewood?
no.
Oh, Lord.
She's from your original side. Ferncourt.
Ferncourt. Oh, okay, okay. All right,
Yes,
all
I was
right.
told that she went to Ferncourt. Yeah.
All right. Gregory Orton. Oh, Lord. Which school did Gregory Orton went to? Dr. Gregory Orton. I don't remember.
You're doing
Oh,
well. I'll give you a hint. Kingston.
JC Calabar,
No.
San
I'll give
Diego.
I'll give you another hint. Mountain View Avenue.
Mm.
Well, I don't know how well you know Kingston.
No,
He
I
went.
don't. You know, I'm a chilla, me a country girl.
His high school is next door to the stadium. Gregory's.
Um,
Excelsior.
Excelsior. Okay, okay.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Davian Clark. Oh my gosh. JC.
No, Davian is going to be mad at you.
No, no,
Davian,
no. Casey.
yes, Casey, yeah. Casey.
Okay.
You're doing great. Keep
Lassina
going.
Golden. Lassina Golden, his wife, Vertac.
You're right again.
Um, Dion Hemmings, Vertac.
Yeah, well, Dion actually started at
Yes,
York
yes.
Castle
Of
and she
course,
ended
of
up at
course,
VERE. Yeah, so you're
of
right.
course,
Yeah.
of
Hmm.
course. Michael Green, William Nib.
Or
Oh,
was it
I'm
St.
good.
Jago? I think you're
William.
right. Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Keep going.
um, Michael McDonald, Vertec. Okay. Winthrop Graham. Whoo, Winthrop. San
Where
Diego.
did where did Winthrop went? I don't know. Somebody on the live, please tell me where
Is it
Winthrop
San
Graham.
Diego?
Um, no. Or was it Stets? I don't know. Somebody please tell me where.
Maybe it was Stets.
Please tell me where Winthrop Graham went to school. I think it was Stets. I'm not sure. But keep
Okay.
going. Keep going.
Okay. Um. Okay. Who I'm running out. You know me, I get old now. You know I go already.
Don't worry yourself, man. You did well. You did well. But you didn't mention the queen, you know. You left out the queen.
Merlin Ati.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello. I could let me call her name before though. It
Yes,
is
you did.
and I have a couple more. Vertec.
Mm-hmm.
Ethelyn Tate, Vertec.
Mm-hmm.
Dorothy, Vertec. Listen, no man, don't make me call out all of them because most of them was Vertec. So
You are correct. You are indeed correct. You are indeed correct. I love that. I love that.
yes,
What
yes.
is your most memorable moment competing for Jamaica?
Oh, the Commonwealth Games 1994 in Victoria, Canada. I will never forget. That is hold that to my heart when I become the first female athlete to ever win gold in the 800 at such a level. That was just awesome.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful. In closing, I want you to, if you had one thing to say to our current athletes, what would it be?
Stay the course. Listen to your coaches. Put all you've got in what God given you the opportunity to do, because not only are you doing it for yourself, you may think it's just for you now, you may think it's just for a scholarship, you may think it's just to get you through, but it's not. It's God giving you that platform to make a difference in the world.
Indeed, indeed. If you had one thing to say to our different track and field federations in Jamaica, what would it be?
It would be, um just continue to do everything in your power the right way for your athletes. Continue to use your power to help our youngsters and to continue make the Jamaica that we are the best of the best.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Inez Turner, Olympian, VERE technical standout. Inez, it is indeed a pleasure having you on this show. And you've shared a lot. You've shared your authentic story. And I thank you very much for being here. And also, someone said it earlier on the live. Thank you for your service. Thank you very much for your contribution to Jamaica's track and field rich legacy that is over 90
Mm.
years old. And
Yes.
we are still going strong. We're still going strong. So if there's anything that you want to say, as your last remark, the floor is yours.
I just want to thank everyone who tuned in and thank you for these kind words. And you guys are also great. Thank you for this opportunity, because when you give us this opportunity to say some things and to give back feedback to people that who don't even know who I was, or even the other athletes that you have on this show, I just want to thank you so much, because as I said, it helps our youngsters to understand that, whoa, this is real. And we there's always something that comes from our mouth to motivate them. So I thank you so much for having me. I really enjoy being on the program.
And I enjoy your company, you being here, and shedding light on certain things. So, Ines, thank you very much. And this link I will definitely be keeping.
For
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you, Ines.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much.
have a great evening. Guys, thank you very much for being here wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Of course, another episode of Track and Field Business Uncut. And of course, we had the outstanding Inez Turner. Thank you all for being here wherever you are. One Kino, thank you, Sandy British, Janice Chambers, Latoya, thank you very, very much for stopping by. Other Olympians who were here, Aileen Bailey was on. Thank you for being here. Dorothy Scott Genius was here, a three-time Olympian, two-time Olympian. Etlin Tate was also here, another Olympian and VERE standout. Ruth Williams Simpson was also here, another three-time Olympian. Davian Clark, Mr. Dependable in that 4x4, was also here. Thank you all for stopping by and hanging out with us. And please, guys, subscribe, share. I want you to share this knowledge with everyone, because we want everyone to know about our track and field and the legacy that we have started more than 90 years ago, and we continue to build on this legacy. And of course, talking to many of the pioneers. Thank you guys very much. Thank you very much. Good night. I'm out. Peace.